Hi everyone, this is Rebecca. This is problem number 29 on page 342 of the textbook, and this identity says that the secant of theta minus the cosine of theta is equal to the sine of theta times the tangent of theta. And we're going to start off on the right hand side, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to expand out that tangent term, and we are going to turn the right hand side into the secant of theta, into the sine of theta times the sine of theta over the cosine of theta. After that, we are going to multiply together those terms on the right, the sine terms, and that's going to turn into the sine of theta squared over the cosine of theta. And we're going to keep working on that right side, and we know from the Pythagorean identity that we can change that sine of theta squared into 1 minus the cosine of theta squared over the cosine of theta. And we're going to leave the right side like that right now, and we're going to jump over to the left. And on the left side, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change that secant of theta term into its definition, which is 1 over the cosine of theta. And then we are going to actually take the second term here, and we are going to multiply that by cosine of theta over cosine of theta, so that we can get these two terms over here to have a common denominator, so we can add them together, or subtract them in this case. So when we multiply that term here by the cosine of theta over the cosine of theta, then what we end up with is the cosine squared of theta over the cosine of theta. And you can see that if we go ahead and condense those terms on the left-hand side, now that we have a common denominator, we end up with 1 minus the cosine of theta squared over the cosine of theta equals 1 minus the cosine of theta squared over the cosine of theta, which checks out. So this proves this identity.